Welcome to Moon Phases Scratch Project 2024, and we're going to attempt to show our understanding of the moon phases with a little bit of coding. All right, so you're going to open up Scratch, and you can see that you have your stage on the right side over here, and you can see that you have your code categories or your block categories on the left hand side of your Scratch. Over here I just have the method that we're going to follow. So if you downloaded from Teachers Pay Teachers the printout, you're going to follow this over here on the left, and we're going to go step by step through each of the processes of adding backdrops, sprites, and all kinds of code to make our moon phases. All right, so if you look over number 1, we're going to add a backdrop representative of space. So we're going to open up the choose a backdrop option, and we can do that in a couple different ways. Down here on the lower right hand side, we have options of choose a backdrop, paint, a surprise, or we can upload. Okay, we're going to focus on the paint and the choosing a backdrop here. We can also hit this tab right here, which brings us to our backdrops and automatically brings us into your backdrop paint tabs. All right, now let me just make this a full screen. Okay, so we're in paint for our backdrops, and I'm going to go back and show you the code again with the worksheet. But okay, so in our backdrops, we have a couple different options of what we can do here. We can choose a backdrop, and I'm going to click that magnifying glass, and they already have a category of space there, or I can type in space over here to search. So they have a few different great categories or topics for space. Now, if I'm doing a moon phases project, I don't want too much in the background, so there are some creative things here. So I might stick with galaxy, nebula, or stars. Stars is the plainest. Just gives us a nice clear sky with a bunch of stars there. So I've created a backdrop. Now over here you can see the default backdrop was just a white canvas. I'm going to get rid of that. We don't need that backdrop there right now. So I have a stars backdrop. Okay, that's one backdrop that I have. Now let me add another one. I could do that over here with choose a backdrop, or over here. Okay, so I'm going to do it here because it's clear. I'm going to do paint this time. And in the paint, I'm going to come over here. You have different options in our paint draw. And I'm going to take the rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and drag over the stage. You can see right now mine's defaulted for purple. We're going to change that up pretty quickly. You have the selection tool, we can see is outlined with blue. And I'm just going to go in there, and I can make that black by dragging down the brightness. Okay. Now that's going to be a black backdrop now. Okay. Now, very plain black backdrop. If I wanted to get a little bit more creative, I can take my paintbrush tool, change the color here, maybe go to, let me brighten this up so I can see it better. I'm going to brighten that to a yellowish, and maybe possibly bring the saturation up, the brightness up, possibly make little stars here. I'm just going to pop, 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 just random stars so that I'm creating my own backdrop. Okay, just put a few more in there. Okay, now that's just you can create constellations. You can get as creative as you want with this. Now I have two backdrops. Let's always get used to naming them. So I'm going to call this space 2. I already have one backdrop name called stars up there. So I'm just going to have that entered so I can play with these different backdrops. Okay, so experiment there. Pause the video and experiment, and we'll come back in a moment and let's work on the second step. Okay, so you're back. And now we're going to add sprites to our backdrop. So if you look over on the handout, we're going to add sprites for a moon, sun, and earth. Okay, the way that we're going to do that is we're going to click on choose a sprite from the library or create our own sprites using the sprite paint editor. We're going to select sprites for the moon, sun, and earth. I have some screenshots there, so let's go ahead and do that. Let me maximize this again so we can see it clearly. Here are our sprites down in the lower right hand corner. I again have options of choose a sprite, paint, surprise, and upload. We're going to stay away from these for this project, but you could use these for other projects. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to choose a sprite. Now when I go to choose a sprite, I'm going to search for a sun because I want a sun. Now you can make your own sun, but for this project I find it easier to just select that sun. I'm going to bring that sun to the side. You can put it there as well. You can customize that, but I'm going to do it there for now. It's a little bit small, so I can come into this size window here, this size option, and I'm going to make it 300% of what the original size was, which brings it out just a little bit. Now you can customize that again. I'm dragging it over, and you can see that your X and Y, if you don't know X and Y, you can do a quick review on that, but it's pretty easy to remember. X goes left and right. You can see that there. Let's take a little highlighter there. And let's go there. We're at negative 297 with our X. And if we go with the Y right now is at 2. So that's the location of the sun at this particular time. Okay, if you, excuse me, get rid of that. Okay. And if I get rid of that, I can now drag this sun, and you can see the X and Y changing in our draw right there. You can see that changing. So that's important to start to understand. If I look and I understand the X and Y axis, X goes across, and in the middle, somewhere right around here, is 0, X. If I go this way, I'm going to get closer and closer to 200. Okay, that's kind of on the screen. And then if I go this way, I'm going negative. So I'm counting backwards, going this way. And towards the edge of the screen, you have negative 200. And that's X. Okay, now if I go the opposite way, if I go this way, that's your X value. I'm sorry, your Y values. These are your Y values. And right in the middle again is 0. If I go up on the Y-axis, you're going higher with your Y values. Right at the edge of the stage, on the top is your around your 200 mark, and at the bottom you have a negative 200 mark. Okay, and yes, you can go lower than that, but that's off the screen or off of the off of the stage. Okay, so now I'm back out. Hit this maximize button just to see what it looks like in your full screen mode, and then come back and hit it again to come back into your coding screen. Okay, now I've got the sprite sun, and I'm going to add a earth. I know that there's an earth in here. I've already experimented with that. So I'm going to bring that in there, and again I'm going to drag that around and possibly make it smaller or bigger. This I just want to make it just a little bit smaller. So I'll make it 75%. Okay, now I have an earth and a sun. I'm going to add one more, and I need the moon for this project. Obviously that's very important for the phase of the moon. And when I search for moon, Scratch doesn't have a sprite for the moon, so I'm going to have to paint my own moon. Here I go, paint the moon. I'm going to use a circle tool in the paint, and I'm going to come out here and drag that out. Okay, now if it's not yellow, and you are not yellow, you can go in there and paint it yellow by just clicking, making sure it's selected with the blue dots all around it, and then go in there and fill in your yellow. Okay, so mine is yellow. I'm going to come down here to put it between the Earth and the Sun, and I'm going to resize that to give it more of a appropriate scale. Let's see, 50. 50 is a little bit small. Let me just go up a little bit more with that. Let me go to 70. Okay, 65. I don't need to be perfect here, but that's not bad. I do want to see the differences in the moon phases, so I don't want to make it too small. Okay, so that's what we look like, and I'm going to stop the video there, and we're going to go with part 2. We've gotten the first 2 steps in, and we're going to go with part 2 of our moon phases project in the next video.